Before she became Captain Marvel and an Oscar-winning actress, Brie Larson lived a life full of surprising twists. From her forgotten pop star career to the role that took a year to recover from, these are 10 fascinating facts about Brie Larson that most fans have never heard. Let's get started! Brie Larson once lived a pop star dream that felt completely unreal. Before becoming known for acting, Brie Larson released an album and then got the chance to open for Jesse McCartney on his Beautiful Soul tour. For Larson, it was everything she had hoped for, touring across the country and even riding on a tour bus. But that chapter of her career was short-lived. While performing music, Larson found herself wanting to wear sneakers, play guitar, and do things her own way, while her record label pushed for a different image. Eventually, she stepped away from music and shifted her focus to acting, even though she still loves pop music. Brie Larson turned years of throwing parties with her best friend into an entire cookbook. Brie Larson and chef Courtney McBroom spent more than a decade celebrating with friends through road trips, gatherings, and homemade meals, and those experiences became the foundation for party people. But this isn't just a recipe book. Larson wanted it to help people spend less time stuck in the kitchen and more time enjoying their guests. The book includes over 100 recipes and party ideas, plus family favorites like her grandmother's Jenga bread and her mother's peach chicken. It even features a section dedicated to alcohol-infused slushies. Brie Larson's most acclaimed role left a mark that lasted long after filming ended. While preparing for Room, Brie Larson spent 6 months getting ready for the character, including staying out of the sun, gaining 15 pounds of muscle, and studying the effects of captivity, solitary confinement, sexual abuse, and vitamin deficiencies. But the toughest part came afterward. Larson revealed that it took an entire year to recover from the dark headspace of the role. During that period, she struggled to enjoy basic activities she had once loved. Since making Room, Larson said she has not taken on another role that was as dark because of how intense the experience was. Brie Larson underwent an intense transformation to play Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel, building the strength and power worthy of one of the MCU's most powerful heroes. Training with celebrity coach Jason Walsh, she tackled a brutal regimen that included 275-pound hip thrusts, rock climbing, MMA sessions, hammer and medicine ball throws, resistance band work, and boxing. Her dedication paid off in a jaw-dropping way. Larson became strong enough to push a 5,000-pound Jeep with a full tank of gas for 60 seconds during training. By the time filming began, she had developed the athleticism and power needed to embody Captain Marvel on screen. What would you do if Captain Marvel herself refused your autograph request? Brie Larson, who skyrocketed from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World to winning an Oscar for Room, has made it clear she's not much of a signer. At the Toronto Film Festival in 2015, a fan approached her hoping for a signature, but Larson politely declined, saying she didn't do that anymore. Instead, she offered something else, a cheerful selfie, complete with her arm around the fan and a big smile. For those lucky enough to meet her, it seems a photo is the only souvenir she's willing to give. Brie Larson almost walked away from becoming a Marvel superhero. When she was offered the role of Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel, she didn't say yes right away. Instead, she spent several months seriously considering whether to turn it down. Her biggest fear was that starring in a massive blockbuster could take away her anonymity and limit her ability to disappear into smaller, more personal roles in the future. That concern nearly stopped her from joining the MCU. In the end, she chose to accept the part because it allowed her to play a powerful character who speaks her mind and refuses to be held back, launching her into full superhero stardom. Brie Larson stood at a crossroads where one role could change everything, and she knew it. After years of working in Hollywood and finally gaining momentum with a smaller film, Larson was suddenly offered the chance to become Captain Marvel. The opportunity came with serious pressure, global attention, loss of privacy, and massive expectations tied to the MCU. Marvel required complete secrecy, leaving her to make the decision alone without outside input. In the end, Larson accepted the role and transformed herself into Captain Marvel, a character that reshaped her career and allowed her to embody the kind of figure she once wished she had growing up. Brie Larson stepped into Marvel and instantly landed a payday most heroes didn't get at the start. When Larson made her debut as Carol Danvers in Captain Marvel, she reportedly earned $5 million upfront. That's striking because Marvel was known for giving new actors much smaller starting salaries, often just 6 figures for their first films. But by 2019, the studio had already delivered multiple billion-dollar hits, and the paychecks had grown. So even though it was her very first MCU appearance, Larson entered the franchise with a significantly higher starting salary than many before her. Brie Larson didn't leave her role behind when the cameras stopped rolling. To prepare for Room, Larson followed a harsh routine that included restricting her diet and vitamin intake while spending months researching sexual abuse and long-term confinement. After playing a mother raising a child born from rape, the experience carried into her real life in a major way. On the same night she won the Oscar for Best Actress, Larson stood up to hug all 50 sexual assault survivors who joined a performance connected to a documentary about campus assault. Since then, she has continued speaking publicly against sexual abuse and supporting survivors. Before becoming Captain Marvel, Brie Larson's first screen appearance was a role most fans would never guess. Brie Larson started working in entertainment years before becoming known for major film roles. Her first on-screen appearance came in a sketch on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, where she played a Girl Scout. As she continued acting, Larson appeared in a few television projects before making her feature film debut in 2001. In that movie, Madison, she played a character credited as Racing Girl Number 2. That same year, Larson landed a starring role in Raising Dad, giving her a bigger platform as a young performer. From those early roles, Larson steadily built the acting career that followed.